Hello, everybody. This is Preston Polter here with Pocket Jacks Comics, and I'm discussing John Lamont's book, which he's been working on this story for ever since I've known you. So this story is like at least 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, it's like 11 years old.
11 years old, yeah,
or more.
The Blood Feud story, which we saw some pages of here, at least the opening two.
Yeah, I brought in the opening 10 pages a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Around when I finished doing the artwork for the book.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And yeah, so you did the artwork, on your own using like animation stuff. And now the question is, okay, so we got, a story that, you put a fair amount of time into. And I know other people commented, like, Vicky commented that I think she wanted to see more of that story. So projects will tend to, hey Timothy Best, projects will tend to reflect the amount of time put into them. It's often, a lot of times, I think stories are just a function of time. Like the more time you spend just kind of honing your story and getting it good, then the better it's going to be. And you've been working on this one for 11 years. So, it's you've gotten to where it's a good story. It grabs people. This is something that's weird about Facebook. Facebook people do this. They just comment with a letter. I don't know why. I don't know what that letter means, but like people on Facebook do this all the time.
It could be an emoji that's not translating over the software properly.
Could be. Okay. All right. That's it. I'm always like, what is it? Why are people just leaving me a letter comment? It's kind of strange. But so the story is good. From a comic book maker point of view, or from a comic book consumer point of view, your interior is going to be a bit of an issue because it's not traditional comic book art. So it's animation style, and it's a little primitive. It's done using software and all that good jazz. So we got 200 and how many pages did it end up being?
About 216 if I count it by 4.
That's a lot of pages. I mean, White Lily is going to be like 130. So you've got another 70 or 80 pages on White Lily, and that's going to add to your cost to print, because the paper, when you're looking at it from the printer's point of view, right? So they depending on the printer, but all printers are basically the same in that they have a big machine that costs a lot of money, and they got people to run it. And how big that machine is depends on the printer, but they're all big to that printer. Like, there's a local printer here. They got like 3 or 4 machines that are like, the size of those old 70s style Xerox machines and stuff. And that's nothing to like the printer I use out in Fort Worth, that they've got, the offset printing and whatnot, where they explained it to me. Oh, hello, Moby is here. Hey, Moby, how you doing?
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah. But, like to every printer, their capital is tied up in this big machine. And the bigger the printer is, the bigger that machine happens to be. So, you get to like the people who are printing for DC Comics up in Canada, it's a massive machine that does whatever. But then once they've got the cost for the big machine, it's okay. Now my expenses to run it to sell, basically they're selling time on their machine to people, such as yourself. And then there's going to be labor to run the machine, and then paper. So those are the 2 big costs from the printer's point of view that will cause them to give you a higher quote, is the labor and the paper. And when you have something weighing in at like 216 pages, then that's going to be certainly in terms of paper costs, you're going to be looking at close to double if you were weighing in at like 115 pages, because you're using twice as much paper basically. And that also, as your page count goes up, well, now that's going to be a higher labor cost, because it's got to run longer, and they got to collate more pages, and cut them down and bind them and do all that jazz. So, it's your costs go up with page count, even if you're not paying your art team. So, because you're doing the art yourself. So, it's now we're looking, okay, so you've taken your script, you've been honing your script for a while, you've translated into a medium, and now the question is, can we make it commercially successful? And that is an excellent question, and I don't know the answer. But you look, well, my approach to comic books has taught me the power of variant covers. So I'm a bit like,
I know that's why I loved your comment, by the way. If you like money, you'll get variant covers.
Exactly. It's like if you don't like money, then don't worry about it. But look, I'm like the PE coach that, regardless of what your problem is, the solution is, sounds like you need to take a lap. Maybe you should use a variant cover. That's Preston when it comes to I'm worried about how to make my project successful. But I don't know. 216 pages, good story, artwork kind of iffy. Trying to get, and the quotes I'm hearing from the printers you're talking to, like the one I provided, Comic Wellspring, was 16, and you're hearing quotes that are like above 16. So,
you sent a link? I didn't see one from you.
I did send a link. Here, hold on. I'm gonna do this. Let me do this live right now. Okay. I'm gonna give Comic Wellspring some love. So let me open up a new tab. Alright. And let me share this tab. Okay. Share screen. Tab.
Well,
what's up?
Well, John, I shared the site. The site.
Yeah, I was looking at them, Moby.
Yeah,
they were one of the ones I was looking at.
Oh, they can help you, dude. Yeah. But the question is, are you doing it in color or black and white?
Right.
It's full color, full bleed.
Yeah.
My pages are black.
Well, I would say this, man. It depends on how much money you're trying to save and how many people you're trying to get in the hands of. But I think I would say go black and white for the time being. And as you build up, then you give the option with color. You know what I mean? Because color, to me, with what's happened with the manga success of selling billions, I mean, right now, Superman is about to be eclipsed by a manga that's been here for 10 years,
Yeah.
So to me, color is not a deal breaker. It's a choice,
Right.
So it's about what you want to do, John. That's the way I look at it.
All right, so here I am over here at Comic Wellspring, and if you were watching the video, you saw all I did was go to Google, type in Comics, COMIX Wellspring, and then you can get a quote right off of the website. You don't need without even logging into an account. So,
yeah, all the sites have done that so far.
Yeah. So here we go, 216 pages, minimum of 25. So 25 minimum comes in at 407, which is $16.30 each.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And honestly, Comic Wellspring, to me, is one of the more expensive options. I just go to them because I like that I can get a quote right off their site. So that when I'm talking to people who I usually twist, and twisting the arms of, like my local printer that I can just drive to, so I don't have to worry about delivery and they turn it around fast. But when it comes to pricing, I'm like, hey, I you can't go too high because I can just get it over here from this guy. So, that's what I do. So, Comic Wellspring is, like I said, $16.30 plus shipping. And I was hearing the quotes you were getting were like 25 or 20. So there you go. I already shaved off $4 for you. And, if I go to my Fort Worth printer, I can even get it probably a little bit cheaper. But still, let's just use Comic Wellspring as a good benchmark. Like, to me, if you're planning a campaign, Comic Wellspring is cool, even if you don't use them, because you can just take that quote and go, if I can make the economics work at this quote, then I can make the economics work. So, all right, $16.30. Add $1 or $2 to ship it to you, so $18. And then you want to charge like $30. Now you're asking people to pay $30 for, or maybe 35 even, but 30, 35 to get a 216 page full color, but fairly simplistic artwork, graphic novel story about a vampire. And you're going to be first time creator. I mean, I don't know.
I know.
That's a big hill to climb. So YouTube finally loaded. I'm happy. Yeah.
Well, I would say, man, how many pages are you willing to give as a preview?
Right. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about this. Why are you talking,
George? Actually, I was going to. So my original intention was during the Kickstarter, I was going to post 30 pages on my DeviantArt page.
Yeah. And by the way, to answer this question, this is a vendor that I have used in the past. So, yeah. I mean, like what I liked about William. Let's see. Cool. So William Savage is here, and then he was. Hello. So, like back when I was doing shows all the time, and boy, if that doesn't seem like a long time ago. And you know what's weird is like comic people are not doing shows, but sports card people are doing shows. Like, I worked a sports card show a couple weeks ago because I had nothing to do, and I ended up selling like $500 worth of comics at a show, not about comic books, but like sports card shows are going regularly, but comic books, it's when I was there at the show, people were like, you got to go to Permian Basin Comic Con, man. They're going to go up in 2 weeks. I'm like, cool. And then I went and I looked and like, all right, cool. I'll get me a table. And like 2 days later, when I sat down to actually buy a table, they were all sold out. So now is a good time to be in the comic book show business, I think, if you're actually willing to go out and actually have one, because there's so much, I guess, I don't know what it is, like peer pressure, that like comic book shows have just not been convinced to come back. There was, Dallas Fan Days, which is really the largest of the comic shows here in Dallas. It happened twice a year. So their April one, they canceled. And then there's one in October, and I was like, all right, well, I'll go to that one. And, I just got an email like, no, sorry. We're not doing it. So, come on, man. There's sports card shows and stuff. But back at the time where I was doing them regularly, I realized that if I had the book in hand that I was talking about, like my latest book, if I had that book in my hand, I could sell it to people. And particularly if it was like an advanced copy, like, oh, hey, I'm just, I printed off 50 of these. That makes them more collectible, So, and it would give me a chance, to make some sales as well as to get more feedback in real time on like, well, what do people think of the book? Because now I have customers in front of me. I could show them the book, see what they think, and then in like the quiet moments when nothing's going on, I could read it over and go, do I like that dialogue? And then end up making some changes. So I was using Comic Wellspring for that. They're really great. Like I said, minimum of 25. So you can go print up 25 books, 50 books, 100 books. And, like if you're printing, a 24-page comic book, it's going to end up being like $5 or so in cost on the thing, which is a price point that you'll go broke on in the long run. But if you're just printing up 50 and you're selling them at $10 because, hey, it's an advanced copy, you want one, and I'll autograph it and post a picture and all that cool jazz, then you can make some money at the shows and get some feedback, and the whole process I found got better. So I use Comic Wellspring for that, and that's what I was thinking of.
Well, to me, man, I would say this.
Hey, Kaiser, how you doing? Go ahead, Bob.
If you're willing to give 16 pages or so, you got to build the base. Mm-hmm. A guy like me, I'm running a site, and we're all linked up in the Discord. So to me, if you're trying to do it tactically, because you're using something like Daz, and there's a big following on that movement using Daz to make comics, but I would say your best bet is to work out a plan where we'd give away like a good 16 pages or so
Right.
to build the
Yeah.
following, and then try to get something on a Kickstarter, but first plan a reasonable budget, and then it could be done.
My plan was to post a page a day on my DeviantArt page
Right.
for the entirety of the Kickstarter. So 30 pages.
Yeah.
So I was going to run a 30-day Kickstarter through the month of October and post a page a day.
Well, I would say, why not? I always see people doing that where you're posting a page when a panel's more than enough. I'd say you post around maybe a good 2 panels or so a day or something. But I would say tactically, it's all about planning how to introduce the public to this. And the greatest thing you have with Daz as an advantage is that Daz has the ability where if someone was to send you a photo of them, you could put them in the comic. So there's a way to somewhat use that for customer targeting, where you could include them in a book. There's a few tactics you could use that someone like any one of us who's having a book drawn are limited to. We can't just have the character change their face. So.
Yeah.
Well, my goal was, because Daz is unconventional in comics, was to hook people on the story. And I felt like posting the first 30 pages should be enough that by then people should know, yes, this is a story I'm invested in. This is a story that I'm willing to pay $35 to read. That was my thinking.
All right, wait. Here you go. Here you go. Okay. I've got the solution. So I know this is why people come to me. Here you go. Like Moses, I have come down on the mountain, and
Guru Preston laid on us.
There you go. I think you should do it as in like webcomic style, which I don't know a ton about because I don't make webcomics. But
I do.
Okay, but you put it like a page a day and just put out the whole book, one page a day over the course of the next 216 days or whatever. So basically a year, to build a following of people following the story, right? So, and then once you've got, your audience hopefully growing over that time, then at the end, then you do a crowdfund to this, audience that you've been building to get the physical copy. Because, look, people will still pay for it. Now, there will be some people who will be like, I read it digitally. I don't want to buy the physical thing. And that's fine. But I think those people also weren't going to pony up to get it anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of what do they call them? Leechers on webcomic sites. I mean, there's a lot of people like that. Like almost every person, if you go to Comic Fury or anybody like that, almost every one of them, and if not everyone, 9 out of 10 of them have a Patreon.
Yeah.
So
I was say it's like good.
And that's also something I've considered doing.
Yeah.
Just putting it up on Comic Fury and doing like $1 a month Patreon.
There you go.
And just seeing if I can, like you said, build an audience.
And then once you get that audience, you can go, hey, here's the book you've read, but it's got this hot, sexy cover on there by, and there's a ton of artists I can hook you up with to get like a hot, sexy cover, put on your book. And look, people buy it for the cover. And the thing is that they know they buy it for the cover. So it's okay if they've already read the interiors, like particularly when
anybody that had already read it and liked the story, and are putting up for it, they know what they're getting themselves into. So
exactly. I think, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. I feel like Patreon is a pretty good option. Like, there's this popular company that does like indie horror games, and it's all funded through Patreon stuff, and their games are pretty good quality. So I think like Patreon might be a better alternative if you get the following compared to just doing a bunch of like crowdfunding campaigns.
Right. Yeah.
And I would say also look up webtoons. My thing is, I would say it would take you about you want to test it for a good 30 to 60 days
Right.
putting a product out there, promoting it. But another thing is you shouldn't be wanting to put out all 100 and I think you said 216.
16,
You
yeah.
shouldn't want to put them all right now. It should be you set up a certain amount of pages. You're giving them issue 1, issue 2 because this is your first book. You don't want to throw the entire basket at them. You want to give them a good, here's 32 pages of the story,
Right.
and I'll have the next issue. That way you build, then you could collect them eventually for a bigger printing Kickstarter. They always do that, the volume Kickstarters and all that.
Well, to build on that and stuff. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think manga works so well, is because manga is always released in chapter format over the course of these magazines that get released every week and stuff. And a lot of them always end on cliffhangers or, the action's going on. So people are always wondering, oh, what's going to happen next? So, releasing your story in chapter increments keeps people invested to keep coming back and stuff, compared to just in a sense, releasing it all at once for someone to read and stuff.
Well, like you saying, other things, you got to look at your budget and all that. A lot of times, I think a lot of people just want to release a book and they ignore how long it'll take them to produce the next book, So I would say you got to take that into, account too. But I would say you want to use a site like a Webtoons, a
Webtoons doesn't allow
Patreon.
adult content, so that's out.
Oh, it's that type. Well,
I looked at them already. That's why I probably would go with Comic Fury, because they don't have any. They don't care about adult content.
oh, all right.
They had a porn comic on there.
There you go.
Okay. I just think a good smart decision would be imagine you have several books or a few books already done and stuff, and then you decide to release one incrementally, which therefore gives you time to make other books to follow up with that. Kind of like how when it comes to novels, after the first novel, normally if the author has a deal for multiple books, they're already on book 3, 4, whatever, by the time that first book comes out.
Well, technically, I could say I have that, because my plan is to turn Angel of Darkness into a comic, but that'll be a print comic. I'm going to do that.
Well, you can also
do artists.
Yeah, and look, you can also do what I was talking about in print, where you look. I look at it this way: these are just different channels. So if you start doing a Patreon to support a webcomic, then that's introduced one channel, and then divide the book into, if you divided the book into 50-page kind of blocks, what would that be?
Technically, it's 16 chapters.
Yeah,
each chapter is about 10 pages, give or take.
So if you did 4 chapter blocks, so books that are around 4, because the Comicsgate crowd, they were going crazy over the 48-page graphic novel. So they've kind of pioneered this concept of a 48-page book. So if you went into a 48-page book, then you could squeeze out about 4.5 of them roughly. So your last one could be a little oversized. But so you, after a couple of months of doing Patreon promoting, you go, okay, I'm going to put out a 48-page book with a cool cover, and now you're going to Kickstarter. So you had your Patreon crowd, now you're going to Kickstarter. Hopefully some of your Patreon backers will follow you to Kickstarter to actually get the physical book, right? And then you test that model and you just make it grow. And now you've got a couple of different channels.
One... I was just going to quickly add, the one flaw I guess I see in both Patreon and Kickstarter is that sometimes you need to have a following to get a good amount of backing. The one advantage that a lot of indie developers have is that they have legions of very popular Let's Play people always playing their games, and their viewers and subscribers come to buy that game to play it, so they get a big amount of backing because of all the traffic they get from YouTube. Whereas comic books don't have that advantage because comic books are very niche now, so it can be a little difficult, I guess, finding the backing for those avenues.
Anyway, all right, William, I'm sorry that last week we did not get to your pages. I see in the Discord. By the way, there's a link in the description for anybody new. You want to come hang out with me in the Discord, that's cool. Also, it's a place to submit scripts. And I also put the links to how to get backstage on the writer stream in there. So there's a link in the description if you want to join the Discord server. But I see you uploaded a new script. So should we look at the one from a while ago or the latest one? I'm going to say the latest one. Probably.
It's the same script. It's just I got more done with this latest one.
Okay, then let's look at the one where you got more done. All right. So, minimize, share. All right, tell us about this. Or tell the audience, some of which may be new to the whole idea of what this story is.
Okay, so basically this is kind of inspired off of shows like Mike Tyson Mysteries and like Scooby-Doo and stuff. So I decided to be a little meta and kind of include people from your Discord as characters and stuff. Not I wouldn't call it.
I'm hooked already.
Maybe you get a starring role.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I take a little liberties with personalities and stuff, so it's not meant to be like insanely accurate to everyone's personality, but it's just a little bit of a meta comic for fun.
About a month ago, I watched the Daniel Radcliffe movie, Guns Akimbo, which I've since watched again. On the second viewing, I realized it wasn't as good as I thought it was the first time out. But
you didn't drink enough when you were watching it.
Exactly, but the first time out, I was hooked in like the first few seconds because the premise was about these literal blood sports being put on for a social media audience of people who had these professional lives but were really pretty psychotic in terms of their appetite for blood and just like the mob and how much it just wanted to see people literally die in terms of the movie. I'm like, okay, I'm watching. All right, so you have written this. I guess we're going to start with page 1. Do some casting. Who's going to be narrating?
I guess I can narrate.
All right. Do we have any speaking parts? I see we have Moby.
Yeah, there's speaking parts for Moby, Preston, William.
Okay.
Vicky has a couple speaking parts. Yeah.
Oh, so sad.
Then there's like 2 guards and the benefactor. I think his name's David.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I guess we're all gonna. All right, William, go ahead and lead us off here.
Okay. CG Mysteries: The Case of the Blade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way,
Savage.
Before we get to that, there was something I shared in the Discord, which Vickyverse had posted. Where she's doing collabs with Dean. She's got a new man now. And there was like a Twitter spat between Mike and Curtis and EVS, where EVS was posting pages from Rec Planet, which complete with some lettering. And Micah was like, you got an echo on this page. She's saying like the same word twice. And Ethan is like, I want it to sound realistic. That's how people really talk. They say the same word twice, because Ethan is an artist and not a writer. And he doesn't understand that, no, you do absolutely do not want to put dialogue in your book that is, basically a transcript of how people really talk, because that is the worst dialogue imaginable. But
it is.
It's Ethan. But how does Micah know about echoes? Is Micah watching my channel? Anyway, or maybe he learned about those things on his own. So yeah, that's what Jim is talking about here. What needs more realism, repeating word makes it more real. But oh wait, CIL. There are rules for dialogue, and apparently repetition is how people talk. Exactly. Okay, so go ahead. Pardon my interruption.
Page 1, panel 1. The title in creepy lettering that reads, The Case of the Bloody Pages. Panel 2. A golden gate in front of a mansion with the name Comicsgate on the placard in gold plates. Caption. Comicsgate Manor is an old home bought and renamed by new money. Panel 3. A window of the mansion with the silhouette of a man standing inside the room. Panel 4. Moby is stretching his arms. Moby is a black man with a toned body and a small afro. He is wearing a black tank top and red sports shorts.
There you go.
Panel 5. Moby brushes his teeth in a bathroom in front of a mirror over the sink. Panel 6. Moby walking back into the bedroom and hears a voice. It's almost 12 o'clock. Breakfast was already was ready over an hour ago. Panel 2. Page 2, panel 1. Moby looks at a black cat on the bookshelf. The talking cat's name is William, and he has bright green eyes. William. The others were waiting for you to come downstairs to talk about our last case. Panel 2. Moby scratches the back of his head with an embarrassed expression on his face.
I was busy last night.
Panel 3. Sideways shot of William looking at Moby and Moby looking down at William. And what was that exactly?
Just looking at the porn of my fan art of my character on the web.
Of course. Perfect reason to stay up all night. Sarcasm. Panel 4. Moby sighing with the small SFX sigh coming out of his mouth.
At least I don't require someone else to write and draw because I got real hands.
Panel 5. Moby walks out of his room and down some stairs with William following a little bit behind him. Why must you always remind me of the absolute torture of being a writer trapped in a cat's body? You know what I give to be a hairless ape like you and stuff?
My guess is that you'll sell us all out.
Am I right?
Am I right? Oh, you got that 2 times.
Well, that's the way people talk.
William.
Am I right?
William, bingo. I saw you all the same himself and meant I could at least have human hands and stuff with opposable thumbs. Panel 6. Moby enters the dining room. Page 3, panel 1. Sitting at the dining table is Vicky and Preston. Vicky is a curvy white woman with bright red hair. Preston is a skinny white man with skin-colored hair.
Someone
asked
finally
me,
decided
Vicky.
to show up for breakfast.
I almost didn't save you any of the waffles and bacon.
Panel 2. Moby down at the other end of the table, and there's a plate with cold waffles and bacon in front of him.
Sorry, everybody. I just couldn't get to sleep last night.
Panel 3. William jumps up on the table, too busy looking up porn to sleep. Panel 4. Moby throws a spoon at William, causing the cat to jump off the table.
Stupid cat, don't make me get you neutered. All right.
Panel 5. William walking away with his head and tail raised. Nobody gets near my homies unless I want him to. Panel 6. Moby hears the doorbell ring with a look of surprise on his face. SFX, the sound effect of the doorbell ringing behind his head. Page 4. Panel 1. Moby looks towards the door from the entrance to the dining room.
Ah, shit. I hope that's not my ex trying to get her copy of Space Jam back.
Panel 2. Preston looks at Moby, who is off panel.
Why would you keep that?
Panel 3. Moby looking back at Preston with a what kind of question is that look on his face? The SFX of the doorbell ring happens again behind Moby's head.
Bruh, that's my movie. It's the shit, man. It's my childhood.
Why don't you just buy it online?
Because I want this copy to be a collector's item.
Panel 4, William is looking at both of them while they're off panel. The SFX of the doorbell ring happens again. That's very cute, Moby. Now, will you please answer double? The doorbell hurts my ears. Panel 5, Moby turning the doorknob to the front door. Panel 6, outside shot of Moby opening the front door, looking outside. Whatever he is looking at is out of panel. Page 5, panel 1. Two guys in black suits are standing at the front door. They are tall and wearing sunglasses.
Is this the residence for Comicsgate Publishing?
Panel 2, Moby looking at the two men with a suspicious look on his face.
Yeah, who are you guys?
We work with someone who could use your help. He heard you guys also solve mysteries.
Panel 3, William moves in front of Moby from under his legs. Well, if you count getting lucky in a deadly situation as solving a mystery, then sure. Panel 4, Moby looking down with an angry face at William, who is off panel.
Shut up.
Panel 5, one of the men with black suits adjusts his tie.
Well, then it looks like we're at the right place. Our boss needs a reply. Will you take the case?
Panel 6, Moby smiles at the two men who are off panel.
Sure, man. If the pay is good enough. Good enough.
Moby runs the team, apparently.
Page 6, panel 1. A 2020 Ford F-150 truck is driving down a road in a wooded area. Caption, later that day. Panel 2, Moby, Preston, Vicky, and William are in the truck. Moby is driving while Preston is in the passenger seat. William and Vicky are in the back seats.
What y'all think the case is about?
Hey, robot. Probably something on the down low, since whoever this guy is decided to send some big guards.
I wonder if this person has been involved in illegal stuff.
Who cares? As long as we're getting paid good. I certainly don't. Panel 3, Vicky rolls her eyes with a no expression on her face.
That kind of careless attitude is how you almost got killed by this pack of dogs 2 months ago.
Panel 4, close-up shot of close-up shot of one half of William's head with a thought bubble that has two smaller panels within it. The first panel shows William chasing a mouse. The second panel has William running the other way, chased by a pack of dogs. William's facial expression is a frown with his eyes looking sideways and almost closed. William, I was certain that mouse had evidence to that case. It would have had us solve it quicker. Panel 5, Moby, Vicky, and Preston laugh hysterically with the SFX ha 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 behind them and stuff. Panel 6, William's ears drop to the side of his head and he grimaces.
All right. Just for scripting, you can just put SFX as its own little dialogue suite, SFX, ha 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 ha, and then you don't have to, write it out like that.
It don't look like it's connected.
Panel 6, William's ears drop to the side of his grimaces. William, oh, ha ha ha, sarcasm, very funny, you three. Page 7, panel 1.
Wait, I'm going to interrupt for a second. How do you do sarcasm in a comic book? Because I was curious about that.
All right. The only one I've seen, like you can just write it out and hope that people understand that it's sarcasm. I have seen like a letterer, and I'll go ahead and credit in Sunstone. I saw like somebody made a comment and the lettering art for the box made it in the shape of giving somebody the finger. So,
okay.
So if you put it in the shape of giving someone the finger and she's looking at somebody and she goes, oh, I'm sure you're just brilliant, then I think the reader will understand that they're being sarcastic. But you need to write in some type of either you're going to use a visual cue in which case you need to put a note to the letterer to make the box look like, this special way, or you're or just write and hope.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I was. Yeah, I think that was just kind of a note to like if the artist gets the script to like if how they illustrate it would kind of give them a facial expression that kind of gives off sarcasm.
Right. Yeah, and then another way is to like write the characters like eye rolling or something like that.
That's what I've done.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, the character rolls their eyes, and then they have them say the line or something like that.
Right.
It worked when I did Blood Feud. I had a character that was speaking that way, and I had her roll her eyes. But it's a little bit easier in that when you're actually dealing with a 3-dimensional character that can roll their eyes. So I don't really know how you would do that in a drawn comic.
Yeah.
I guess similarly, with a facial expression and all that. Oh well, I was just curious how you guys do it. Sorry.
Okay, so I guess I'll just continue. Page 7, panel 1. The truck driving up a dirt road towards a mansion in the distance. It is overcast with the clouds being dark like it's about to rain. The mansion looks very creepy. Panel 2. The truck rolling up into the driveway of the mansion.
Damn, this place looks like a horror movie.
Panel 3. Moby and the gang getting out of the truck. You think there will be secret passageways?
Looks old enough to have them.
Nice. I'll have some more places to hide while you all get murdered.
I'm sorry, but remind me again why we didn't have you adopted by a cat mom.
At panel 4, Moby walking up to the front door of the mansion. The door is wooden with a stone knocker and a shape of a gargoyle's head. Panel 5, Moby's hand using the knocker with the SFX effect of thump, 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 thump. Panel 6, the door opening slowly with the inside being in darkness.
Meow meow, someone told meow. Sorry, I was getting a Scooby-Doo vibe here.
Page 8, panel 1. The door opens to reveal a man dressed in a maroon suit. He looks to be in his 50s and has short, well-kept silver-colored hair. His name is David Hitchens. He is smiling at the gang who are off panel.
Welcome. I hope your journey went well.
Panel 2, Moby shakes David's hands with a smile.
It was roads a little creepy though.
I have been told that by many people. This place has been owned by my family for many generations.
Moby and the gang walking into the main hall. Panel 3, Moby and the gang walking into the main hall of the mansion, looking around. There are paintings on the walls and a few suits of armor from various ages and cultures standing upon pedestals.
This place is amazing.
They're beautiful.
See, now this is what a man of culture does with a mansion. Take notes, guys.
Shut up.
Panel 4, David turns away from the gang.
My cooks have prepared a meal for us. Let us talk more in the dining room.
Panel 5, Moby rubbing his hands with an excited smile on his face.
I could never say no to some good food. You know, that part is true.
There you go.
Panel 6, the gang walking towards the dining room entrance, which is off panel.
This part is also true. I could use a good glass of red wine.
Same.
Bowl of whiskey for me.
What the hell is a bowl?
A cat.
Oh, a cat. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's like instead of a bowl of milk, it's a bowl of whiskey. Okay. Page 9, panel 1. Moby looks at a large dining table with fancy-looking food on and beautiful plates. There are soups and freshly cooked ham as well as chicken. There are bottles of wine on the table with wine glasses in front of them.
Now that looks like a meal.
Panel 2. Moby and the gang take their seats at the table. David sits at the head of the table. William's head is barely able to see over the table.
That wine looks expensive.
Indeed it is. Chateau Lafay Rothschild, to be exact.
Panel 3. Preston whistles with an impressed look on his.
I'm gonna go ahead and give a note right here in terms of scripting. The dialogue is a little. It feels expositional, like I'm just trotting out some line that isn't prompted by the art, unless you put here in the art somewhere, that the bottle of wine actually looks expensive, and you got to tell the artist how to draw an expensive looking bottle of wine. So Chateau, whatever Rothschild, you got. So like if you need to in this panel give a good visual cue to the artist for what they need to draw.
Okay.
And if I'm going to be saying that wine looks expensive, or the character Preston is going to be saying that, then you need to be talking about the wine in your lines in the art direction lines, and they're not there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My mouse fell off. Hold on. I cannot advance the page for a minute. I'll be right back. Until I got to get my mouse. The Preston show came to a crashing rhythm. Okay, where were we? All right, go ahead.
Okay. Panel 3. Preston whistles with an impressed look on his face as he pours himself a glass of the wine.
Never thought I'd have one of these anytime soon.
Panel 4. William looking at David. So where's my bowl of whiskey?
My cooks thought it would be better to whip you up something better for you. I'm sure you'll enjoy it once it comes.
Panel 5. William having an annoyed look on his face with his whiskers drooping. The only thing I asked for was some whiskey, but I guess that's too much even for a rich guy. Panel 6. A waiter puts down a plate of delicious-looking fish in front of William. His eyes are wide in shock. Page 10. Panel 1. William licking his lips as drool drips from his mouth. Okay, I take back what I said. This looks delicious. Panel 2. Moby shaking his head with a smile.
That's Cat's a fool,
David, panel 3. David is holding a fork over his food.
All of you are probably wondering why I invited you here.
Panel 4. Preston nods his head with a calm expression on his face.
That is a big question. Yes. What does an extraordinarily rich man like you need with people like us?
Panel 5. William is gnawing fish meat off of the bones. Don't let our home fool you. We're not wealthy. Panel 6. David sits with both his hands resting on the arms of his chair.
You see, I have a serious problem on my hands. A mystery, you might say. A murder case, to be exact. And I could use your help.
All right, there we go. So I am a huge fan of Mike Tyson mysteries. I tried introducing it to other people, but I don't know. I guess you got to be a Mike Tyson fan. I'm not sure what it is, but like I showed it to my mom and a friend of hers, and they're like, "This sucks." I don't know, but I love the whole Scooby-Doo parody angle, and Scooby-Doo is itself a parody, of like the Hardy Boys. Like it's like, what if the Hardy Boys were like a stoner with a talking dog and a lesbian and headed by a gay guy with an ass. Like the whole show is a parody. So, look, I'm a sucker for this stuff, but I love the concept, and you know what? I think this maybe could be something.
Yeah, man. I will say this, man. It's got potential because the majority of us aren't that known, besides Preston here of the North Star, we're not that well known. So you could actually get away with it where you could base characters off of certain people. The other thing I'll give you this is you kind of made it like, I don't know if anybody remembers that cartoon. They had a dog and its owner worked in an office. I think his name was Dogbert or something like that.
Yeah,
it was
Dogbert is a character out of
I can't remember the name. I love that show.
It's a picture from the 90s. Let's say Dilbert.
Yeah, Dilbert. Yeah. To me, the cat brings that Dilbert vibe. because a lot of people have tried parodying Scooby-Doo, but they always just make it another dumb animal. You know what I'm saying? This one, you have a sophisticated cat, and what's great about it, you still kept the Scooby-Doo vibe where, oh, it's a talking dog and everyone accepts it. No one asks any questions, you know. You know, but to me, that it's got potential, man. This might, you know, this could push the CG brand, man. CG mysteries. And I was just waiting for that David Rich guy to be EVS for some reason.
Yeah, like the formula I was kind of planning as kind of a meta parody was like kind of out in Scooby-Doo fashion. There's always like a guy in a mask, you know, and like each of the guys in the mask would be like a reference to like Comicsgate or like War Campaign and stuff as a guest.
Yeah. So somebody has a note here that perhaps if I guess they're referring to the wine, if it had a gold label with a frog wearing a monocle on it, like this looks.
That could work.
The problem is that, like, and you know, like I've talked about this with like you know, the SWC brothers who were making like, you know, Cape Cod parodies. Like if you make like a Comicsgate you know, parody, like I don't know if that audience is big enough, and if the parody ends up being too specific to it, then it's going to be lost on a larger audience. So you can kind of trap yourself to like this one little niche group.
Man, I think he could start off that way, but slowly, eventually, it's gonna expand because, you know, if you talk about comic culture, when you know, it's the number one form of culture now, with the films taking billions and creating the next generation of stars and all that stuff. To me, this got potential, man. You know, this got potential to. As I was talking to Preston a while ago, you need something on the brand where it's PG-13, it's family friendly, and something like this, and then everyone's having fun with it. You know?
So like about that and stuff, it is technically not really PG-13. Like when they get into how I was brainstorming like the mysteries, you know, when I was kind of first writing this out, was it can get rather gruesome. Like they have encountered like serial killers, you know, people actually get brutally murdered and stuff. So it's not really meant to be exactly PG and stuff.
So you're saying something on the lines of, dang, what's the name of that show?
That stuff happens in Mike Tyson Mysteries. I think it's still.
Yeah.
I think you could get away with it. I mean, like they do that on like primetime TV dramas.
Yeah.
You know, they have serial killers and stuff like that, and some of that can get pretty graphic too. So, you know, I think you could do it. You know, but you know, it depends on depends on you.
Man, I mean, it could work, man. You know, if it's got the, you know, law and order like vibe to it. You know, give me one. I had to do that.
One of the things I guess kind of liked about this one was just that, I mean, this is kind of like an introduction little piece and stuff, but from then on, it's like, you know, kind of like with the whole Scooby-Doo franchise, you can basically have them go on so many different mysteries, and they can be of varying lengths, so you don't have to necessarily have like a really long comic, you know, it's just like a one-off for like a mystery and stuff.
Yeah, I could totally see this being something that it's like each issue is a different, you know, maybe you have longer issues, like a 32-page issue, but you could cover like one entire mystery, one entire story in one issue, and then, you know, just do a one-off every now and then. I mean, totally work in that way.
I could see the theme song, CG's Strange Mysteries, you know. You know what I mean? I think this one might get review bombed.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, while I was like thinking about the concept of making more mysteries and stuff, like, you know, like how in Scooby-Doo, there's like the old infamous Scrappy-Doo character and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Oh,
nobody likes Scrappy-Doo.
Well, the thing is, I was going to parody Scrappy Doo by having it be a caricature of Renfamous and stuff.
There we go.
Where she joins the gang and she, instead of saying puppy power, she says girl power and stuff.
There you go. Yeah, that could work. I could see that.
Oh,
Law and Order Elite Mystery Squad. There we go.
Oh, that could work, man. You show that scrappy character. You saying more of like the feminists in the group, or?
Well, I mean, it's just kind of like, a lot of people find Renfamous, to be annoying sometimes. So I thought, I just cast her as Scrappy Doo and stuff. So not a bad guy, but, she's kind of meant as like that comic relief.
The annoyance. That's covered, man. You got the cat as the, pardon my pun, the aristocrat, the
There
smart cat. Then you got the Scrappy with the annoyance. This got some legs, man. And the thing is, John and I think we use Daz, so it wouldn't really be hard to even create the characters. That's the funny thing about something like this. It wouldn't be that hard to put the characters together since it's based on real people.
Yeah, instead of a van, I went with a 5-seated truck. So I just kind of typed into Google saying, "Oh, what kind of trucks have like 5 seats in them?" It's like that's one of them and stuff. So it's like, oh, cool. Truck sounds fun.
To me, I think maybe an RV.
I don't know. Truck. I don't know. I just thought a truck would kind of look pretty cool and stuff.
You're right. It gives it more of like that A-Team vibe. That big 4-wheeler.
Because in the original Scooby-Doo show, I guess the van kind of makes sense for the time.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're looking for something cool, the idea of like a truck, something that can go over like different terrain and stuff would be pretty useful.
Yeah.
Man, it's the thing about this is, it leaves openness to collaboration. That's why something like this it's got legs. And to me, I call this type of writing style free flowing, where you're just running with the idea. You're not trying to, break your brain on whether this will be the next big thing or something like that. And then you create something memorable, where you're not racking your brain up, It's got potential, man.
All right. In terms of John, did you go? All right.
Not really. I did like the Scooby Doo angle. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm not in all of the CG drama stuff, and frankly, I don't want to be.
Right.
So I'm one of those people where a lot of the jokes will probably go over my head. Yeah. But at the same time, knowing some of you guys personally as I do, it's still kind of funny to see you guys in that. And actually, I'm going to actually disagree with Moby on the whole Daz point, because actually this would be the type of thing that would work better drawn by hand, because you want to basically create caricatures of yourselves in this. So that's where you would actually want to have an artist, because then they can kind of more dramatically caricaturize the people in it. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and definitely something I'd want to see more of. And I'm sure it's going to be the real estate developer. So
I agree with John. No, but I was just saying for more of like a reference. You could take care of the humans with Daz, but you will have to, like you said, pay an artist. But something like this, man, you could count me in, man. Count me in on that. If you need help writing, whatever, just give me a contact. That one sounds fun. To me, this is one of those projects as a writer where you get to relax. You're writing it to have fun versus, well, will this break my canon? It's got potential, man.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, in terms of constructive, the only notes I would have would be I worry that the more jokes that you put in that you have to understand the specific reference to get, the smaller the audience is and the quicker it's going to be dated. So I encourage you to try and be as general as possible.
Okay. Yeah. So what'd you think about the I guess Moby's dialogue and stuff? Because I was kind of having to I guess kind of right, especially because when I was thinking about Mike Tyson Mystery, it's like, oh, I'm gonna give him some like more slang dialogue. So I kind of had to sometimes Google search a couple of like slang words for him to say and stuff.
you broke my cannon. Moby, what did you think of your dialogue?
Well, to me, man, the dialogue's smooth, man.
Exactly.
To me, you're not going too stereotypical. It's just the fun. To me, that this one's a clean series, man. And I like you got the characters offsetting people. You could tell by how Preston, character like the wine that he's more sophisticated. Mm-hmm. Like every character, you could pinpoint where they are without saying it. You could tell that the cat's somewhat sophisticated, but more of a jerk. You know what I mean? So it's an easy read to me. The only thing I'll agree is just some of the, I guess the writing, the grammar needs to be fixed when it comes to, like Preston said, the sound effects here and there. Mm-hmm. But other than that, man, it read smooth. And to me, the thing you got to look at is you got everybody interested in a book that doesn't have to do about fictional characters. It's got to do with people we know. As for the CG thing, I think it's all about how you introduce the character. I'll give you an example. You introduced, for example, if you had EVS as just some crazy artist, you don't really need all the history behind it. People in the end will know what he's talking about. If you have a character that's a main villain that calls himself Little Caesar and leads a war campaign against the guys, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
If he's bringing pizza, that might make sense. Otherwise,
Little Caesar, if Ethan appeared in the comic, he would kind of be like Professor James Moriarty, where he kind of like is a reoccurring villain and stuff.
Right.
Like the gold member. To me, though, the only things you might have to, how Velma always dropped their glasses, Preston, I mean, no disrespect. You might have to do something because they always attack Preston. You might have something where Preston keeps getting kidnapped.
Well, I mean, normally in that case, I think it would be Vicky because I guess in those movies normally it's like the females.
Yeah, typically it's the female, but you see now we're updating it to make it more gender friendly. I guess.
Right. That's right, William, sir. Equality, man.
Equality.
Okay. I know is that how I imagined Moby, he was kind of like the this I guess it's kind of stereotypical, but he's kind of like the physical guy, like he knows how to fight and stuff, so
right.
He's the one who who's more likely to throw the punches compared to the other cast.
Because he's
the big black guy.
The big black guy.
Racist much, William?
Well, I mean, that's what Mike Tyson does in the TV show.
Yeah. Say these hands solve what words can't.
All right, cool. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm enjoying it. So I look forward to more of that.
All right, man.
Anyone else got any more, or do we want to go on to the baddest badass?
Hey, man.
All right. I guess we're going on to the baddest badass. Yes, equality of kidnapping victims. Exactly. We have to strike a blow.
I think I would probably not have kidnappings in the comic, just because I guess in a serious situation. I mean, I don't know if it calls for it, but yeah.
No, not kidnapping. You know how the bad guy always gets that one character over and over.
Yeah,
kind of like South Park. They. Oh
my God! Yeah.
They captured Preston again.
Yeah.
I think they might buy the book if that's a running joke, Preston. No
there
offense.
We go. Preston finds a closet full of volleyball. As he opens the doors, they all fall out and roll into Ethan's studio with Preston riding the wave. He turns and yells, "You come in here with balls!" Oh, there we go.
Oh, that could be a great ringtone. Oh, man. I replay that one. I replay that in my head every few times. Balls.
You come in there with balls. I think I might have to put that into dialogue at some point.
That could work as a shirt, man.
All right, so Page 1, panel 1. Do I need to scroll the end on this one because it's 20?
You gotta scroll. I think we were at page 20.
Okay, page 20.
Yeah,
But how many pages does it end up being?
Oh, it ends up being like
42.
a
Okay, wow,
42
There's
page.
a whole bunch of pages. All right.
It's a graphic novel.
It is a graphic novel. Okay, see that.
I gotta make John proud.
Novel. Mine's a graphic novel at 216 pages.
All right, so here we are at page 20.
You correct. You're right.
2 weeks later. Oh, that seems like a good place to start. Or do we want to start at 21?
We start with 20. That way you get the build.
All right. So you know what we're going over. Cast the parts. What do we got?
All right. I think Preston could be the McNeil character. You know.
Yeah.
And, I think John could be the baddest badass.
There we go.
I think William could be the chef character, and the rest will just, because, man, it gets worse. It gets more violent.
Who's narrating?
I'll narrate. All right. Hospital-like room, now with a long, unkept beard and hair appearing worried. McNeil is standing over a futuristic hospital bed where Safina is laying on the bed, her eyes closed on a respirator, the lower half of her body covered by a chamber of sorts. Caption 2 weeks later. Same room as previous panel, McNeil is rubbing Safina's head. Caption 5 weeks later.
I just hope that when you finally regain consciousness, that you'll be willing to listen, for I know there will be far more rage than joy for having to grow up and abandon your youth alongside of the innocence you had to sacrifice in joining me on this journey.
Panel outside, both seated on a bench behind the gas station, McNeil and Chief are smoking a cigar. Caption 2 months later. Oh, that's Chief. That'll be William.
Yeah.
That's me. Okay.
I in it. That's chef.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, chef. My bad.
Oh, chef. Okay. It's very odd to see you consumed by worrying and doubt when you have such a strong young lady.
Oh, sorry. Chef, we've known one another far past the spinning sun of one lifetime.
That indeed.
Then you know that I'm far from worried about whether my daughter will pull through this and stand before, as the true issue is if she'll be sane enough to remain by my side or too far gone.
Chef is facing McNeil.
Have you even given her a hint of a reason as to why you've taken so much away from her over these last few years?
I haven't told her everything, but I've given her enough reasons to understand that we had to throw away the life that we once cherished, not out of fear, but out preparation. For if we remained with her mother, the danger coming would only lead to the loss of everything.
Chef's patting McNeil on the shoulder, who is still sitting on the bench.
Well, old friend, with what she has become, no matter how bloodthirsty regular roaring is, you'll at least have a fighting chance.
Words I truly needed to hear.
That's what friends are for.
The machine-like covering over Safina's waist to feet is opening to reveal her body, which is covered in a sport bra, wearing shorts. She is still unconscious on a respirator 4 months later. McNeil is removing the respirator from Safina's face. Safina is up, still seated on the hospital bed in shock, looking at her hand, sleeping on a chair beside her, McNeil. That will be you, John. My bad.
Oh my, I'm so bigger. Wow.
McNeil is hugging a still in shock Safina, who is still on the bed.
Daddy, I'm bigger. which makes you smaller.
My baby sweets, oh my God. I'm so glad you're all right.
Safina is attempting to get off the bed. Panel 6, Safina's falling face first towards the floor as McNeil is seen reaching for her. Page 22, Safina is walking with crutches beside McNeil, dressed in a very nice dress, wearing sandals as they walk on the woodland trail.
Daddy, if you don't mind me asking, why did you make me all grown up?
Well, Safina, I have been holding this back, but I didn't have to tell you. I had no choice. Someone from my past is coming with ill intentions.
Is facing, I guess McNeil is facing Safina as they continue to walk further towards the hill ahead of them.
Daddy, stop beating around the bush. How serious is this?
What I'm about to tell you, only 3 souls in this world know. Me, your mother, and your Uncle Chef.
The mad scientist guy is my uncle?
Yes, he's the only one odd guy, but he's the most trustworthy soul you'll ever need to know. As for why everything in your life had to alter so extremely, okay.
20.
I didn't expect me to do this dramatic thing and then go, okay.
25 years in the past, Leaf is walking towards his limo, surrounded by 6 security guards in suits outside of the bar at midnight. Also, there is outdoor seating, so some people are seated, drinking, and eating as silhouettes. Caption 25 years later. John, you could be Leaf.
Tonight was vibing. Like luck's on my side, boys.
William, you could be the security. Yes. William now, yeah. I guess.
My bad. Sorry, my bad. I was muted. Don't you mean Lady Luck, boss?
Luck be a lady tonight.
Thugs are hopping out of a hover car, shooting towards Leaf. Leaf is aiming his gun, firing at the thugs across the streets beside his men while behind an energy shield.
You fuckers thought I would not be prepared to penetrate you pussies once you showed up? Fuck you!
All right then.
Page 20, panel 1. A young, casually dressed McNeil is leaping over Leaf from behind, shooting at the thugs in front of them. About 5 out of the 6 thugs are being shot in the head, some dropping their guns, others falling, be it forward or backwards, dead, blood flying out of their heads. The 6th thug in the car is driving off. Of the other thugs on the ground, McNeil is aiming his gun right behind the car as Leaf and his men watch in awe, no longer find their guns. Multiple panels, the bullets is breaking through the back seat, hitting the back of the driving thug. The thug's car is flipping over as McNeil and his security is secretly clapping applause towards McNeil. My bad on that one. Grammar. Leaf is shaking McNeil's hand as 2 of his security walk towards the tipped over thug's car to ensure that he's dead.
Steve and I both noticed that you had fuck you, or you didn't think we could penetrate you big pussies. I'm like, oh, I saw
That's a good line.
Hey man, it's HBO. Yeah.
Top line shoot, and with a fucking ancient lead gun instead of a laser or kinetic load, you are some type of shit.
all in a day's work, sir.
Sir? Nah, no need for that. You kick some ass, you call me Lily.
Lyleaf is walking with McNeil back towards the bar beside his security.
I know you're a shadow guard, but you're different from those other bums that shadow me and my guys because you, my friend, have enough style to quit chilling in the abyss and hand in the limelight as my lifeguard.
Well, if you say so, sir.
Lyleaf is aiming his gun at McNeil a few feet away from the bar entrance. Silhouettes of people running from the outdoor seating area can be seen.
I have some balls to refer to me, sir. And after I told you to call me by my father's balls, chosen name for me.
What the hell does that even mean?
I fucked with you.
What is that? Okay, so the dialogue.
I'm just an actor. I just read the words on the page.
Hey man, Ethan gives it 5.
Okay.
You got balls. Out of 10. Final 3. Lyleaf has his arms around McNeil's shoulder, his gun still out as his security open the entrance door to the bar.
From night on, McNeil, we are as good as brothers stuck to the hip.
McNeil is riding his own hover motorcycle right beside Lyleaf in a race car track.
He didn't lie. I was removed from shadowing him to being right beside him in the limelight.
McNeil and Lyleaf are eating dinner on a floating, very small island surrounded by others that are 12 feet apart on their own small island. Lyleaf is drinking a bottle of wine.
Come on, know this shit is high life fancy, and now fucking island to eat like kings.
I'm not a fan of saying like when we are kings.
Panel 6. Lyleaf is taking a selfie with McNeil as he is eating.
I was always someone who kept my emotions to myself, but something about my leaf, he knew how to break through the walls I held so secure to reveal there was a smile all along, something as a single child without siblings I never knew I was missing.
Panel 1. McNeil is in the mansion party room as Lyleaf, who is wearing a birthday crown along with...
Is this a thought bubble? This feels like an interior.
No, it's like a off-panel thing, but
you might want to make that one a thought bubble.
I got you on that.
Well, isn't he telling the story to his daughter? Isn't that?
Oh, you're right. All right. Okay, yes, he's telling the story to his daughter.
Oh, my bad.
In which case, if this is actually spoken dialogue, it's a little on the nose. All right,
too clean.
Okay.
I got you. McNeil is in the mansion party room as Lyleaf, who is wearing a birthday crown along with his security guards, all of them dressed casually, facing Lyleaf. A lot of the mob is there 3 years later.
It's that time of year all of you have been waiting for. It's the day we celebrate the second greatest birth since Jesus balls on the cross Christ. My birthday, you fucks. I got some of the finest pieces of perfect pussy coming from this corner of the Milky Way. So if it's there, wait, what? So if there is a faggot, leave this ain't your type of party.
Panel 2. Lyleaf has his hands around McNeil, and they are walking up the stairs towards the kitchen as everyone else is dancing with the naked women, and some are even aliens.
What is the, wait. That's if I'm the penciler, I'm going to read that part and go, wait a minute, aliens? What do you mean? You got to describe what the penciler's supposed to draw.
My bad on that.
Do they have
an alien and that sort of a thing?
Gotcha.
Are these like, TOS Star Trek aliens with this, people in paint with little antennas, or are they, like Morse? What do we got? So.
I got you.
Yeah. But I could see some Green Orion slave women, definitely. All right, go, Lyleaf.
Look, I don't say this lightly, Mixie. Mixie? I guess it would be Mac. Look, I don't say this lightly, Mac. You're a trustworthy soul. I would not wear a condom for a hooker. You said to your room, you hear. Now, between you and me, this ain't just to celebrate my birthday. A few people amongst us are about to get cleansed for their sins against me. They're master splintering. Don't worry about who. Just enjoy the show.
Lyleaf is sliding down the stairs, talking on a microphone while holding a bottle of wine as McNeil is running towards him.
The party has just begun, but this surprise will make it for some the last moment they'll ever remember, and for others the gift that keeps on giving.
Lyleaf is pointing one hand, still holding the microphone, as behind him, 5 rising from the floor, 6 dunking booths filled with water and piranhas. Lyleaf is pointing towards the six dunking booths filled with piranhas behind him. All the men are clapping, facing Lyleaf. Some appear terrified.
See, behind you is a dunking tank filled with these teethy bastard fish. The name escapes me at the moment, but we are going to have a fucking blast witnessing the breaths of some fucks who deserve it.
That should probably be deaths.
I got you. Lyleaf is pointing towards the ceiling as a TV slides down. McNeil is walking towards Lyleaf.
In a moment, you're all going to be treated to a special viewing of Snitch Before You Die.
On panel 2, on the screen, seated beside a cop on a floating dinner table, Fatty Mac, fat Italian man.
By the way, Lyleaf is like a raunchy Dr. Evil.
Fatty Mac, a fat Italian man, age 48. Now on a small panel, a shocked face of Fatty Mac. On the TV screen, hiding money under his mattress, John Joe in his bedroom, a Mexican man in his 20s, a small panel of a shocked John Joe.
Look at that. John Joe hiding money he owes me.
Lyleaf is laughing as John Joe, Fatty Mac, along with 4 more men with their mouth taped, are being walked towards the Dunkin' booth.
I could have shown you far more, but I want to get to the goody part where it fucks snitches get stitches. It's piranha get stitches. Snitches. Piranha get snitches.
Lyleaf is hitting the mark with the ball he has thrown. Fatty Mac is falling into the pool of piranhas. Fatty Mac is shaking in pain as the piranhas eat him alive. Lyleaf is passing McNeil a gun. Behind them, the dunking booths, and everyone else is watching.
I thought you wanted us to toss the ball to get them in the pool.
It's getting old. Just hit them with the heads up.
Oh, the 5 remaining men in the dunking booth are being shot on the head.
A Dr. Evil with ADD. It's a elaborate trap.
way too quick. But
Lyleaf has his hands towards the sky as confetti, rolled up joints, cigars, bags of cocaine, and balloons are falling from the ceiling. McNeil is walking away from Lyleaf as the party continues.
After that moment, I checked out and began to ponder when I would leave this life of crime behind.
Panel 1. In an office, McNeil is sitting down with a joint in his mouth as Lyleaf is sitting in front of him snorting coke. Both have beards as they have aged 3 years later.
Don't mind me. What's on your mind?
I'm out as of today.
Lyleaf is facing McNeil with tears in his eyes and cocaine all over his nose. 3 years later.
Oh, but if you're gonna say, if you're gonna say it in caption, you don't need to say it.
Yeah, my bad on that. Should have been above. My bad. Oh, that's you, Preston.
He didn't say a word. Tears were streaming down his eyes as though a dam concealing his emotions was released. I've never seen him in such a way.
Lyleaf is hugging McNeil in tears. Lyleaf is standing in front of McNeil, who is still sitting down, aiming a gun at him while wiping the tears from his eyes.
We were glued, man. Fucking glued. And now you want to... Shit.
I've been by your side for years, brother. I just want to move on from this way of life.
Just reason to me.
Lyleaf, I will still be available and would never close the door to welcoming you in my life. I just can't continue with you any further.
Panel 5, front view, both in tears. McNeil and Lyleaf are sitting beside one another. One of Lyleaf's hands holding McNeil's hand, while the other is holding onto his gun, while McNeil's free hand is holding onto his lit joint. Oh, that's you, Preston.
We sat in that room hand in hand, shedding tears, mirroring the shattered images of closeness we once shared. For after this moment, we would depart from separate paths.
McNeil is kissing the pregnant stomach of Julene beside the porch of their home. Caption years later.
I moved on with my life, and you were only a few weeks away from being born, Sufina.
Lyleaf has a shotgun in the mouth of a man on the floor as his 4 goons watch behind them a burning building.
As for my leaf, the life of crime I left behind, he embraced to the point he could no longer be defined other than sin.
In the kitchen, McNeil appears in despair as he is speaking on his hologram phone. Not too far beside him, Julene feeding a baby Safina, who is on the baby seat. Baby food. My bad.
Nearly a year later, during your first year in this world, Safina, I received a call from my leaf telling men that exact year and date that he would come to relieve you of life and where I would have to bring you to die.
Present day, Safina is hugging McNeil tightly, both in tears, still on the woodland trail.
Daddy, it's okay. I trust you, and we'll get through this.
Oh, how I would have blessed to have you as a daughter.
Yeah, my bad on that.
Or how I have been blessed. No, that's worse. Oh, how I have been blessed to have you as a daughter. It's really wrong.
McNeil is walking deeper into the woodland trail, holding Safina's hand.
To not survive what Lyleaf is planning, but live through it, tomorrow I'm going to put you through a level of training that will make those past few years assisting me as a mercenary appear as child's play.
As long as it helps us overcome this Lyleaf guy and hopefully return to Mom and being a family, Daddy, I'm all for it. I just can't go through another year without being beside you both together again.
All right. So 10 more pages of badass. All right, so we got a note here from Victor. He takes a deep breath of his crack pipe and proceeds to stare out the window. And I guess now we know he had to age up. So he had to age up his daughter because his old criminal conspirator was coming to hurt him or something.
Oh yeah, man, it's coming with the wrath of God, man. It's
coming. When we get to constructives, I'm going to ask how come McNeil just didn't off him and be done with it if he knew that was going to happen. In terms of positive notes, well, okay, so these pages always go in an unexpected direction, and that's cool. You know, I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music over the weekend. And that was enjoyable, but rather derivative. And I was watching a review on it, and they were talking about how the second one, like Bogus Journey, was really the best of the three. And it's because it wasn't a time travel movie, despite the fact the first one was a time travel movie, and the third one ended up being a time travel movie, and the second one it wasn't. And they were spoken like, what if the third one was like Bill and Ted become werewolves or something? Because you're just in love with Bill and Ted as they're going on goofy adventures, but when you have to repeat yourself is where you kind of lose stuff. So here I didn't expect for us to go into this. Well, I guess maybe I had some idea that maybe he had a criminal past, but it certainly is no portrait of a criminal mastermind like I've ever seen. So I found that pretty entertaining. The ATD part with the piranha dunking booths was kind of interesting. The idea that this guy would like pay money to fly in piranhas to set up 6 dunking booths to then go shoot him in the head. That's kind of funny. I like that part. So, anyway, I liked it. John.
I loved Flyleaf. I was born to play that part.
Yeah.
If this gets made into a movie, he needs to. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like the character. I thought for like an R-rated Dr. Evil, yeah, I mean it really works. I mean for if you wanted a comedic bad guy, you nailed it. And there
you go.
So,
anything else?
That was about the only thing I liked about it.
All right, William.
Yeah, I thought it's interesting. Like the dialogue is very hilarious, especially from Nyleaf, right? Nyleaf is his name.
Right. Why?
Yeah, he is a very wacky character.
He is a goofy character. Yeah. All right, so going into constructed, yeah, I want to know like if McNeil kind of knew, because the way you present the scene, it seems like he had some inkling that this wasn't going to go well. But after he says I'm out, and Lyleaf pulls a gun on him, McNeil knows that okay, this guy is not going to let me go easily, and in fact, he then later reveals that he's like, okay, you have to bring your daughter to me to kill her, which feels a little mustache twirly. Like, why would, to me as a villain, that doesn't even make sense. Although the villain doesn't really make a ton of sense. Like, he seems a little random. It makes me wonder how exactly he got to be the head of a criminal enterprise. Why are people following this guy? So, I feel like, again, this is something I said before, but tonally it's a little all over the place, because I feel like a lot of these, if we went in like a comedic direction, could be just absolute gold, but then we keep going off into this serious stuff. And anyway, those are my thoughts for today.
To me, later on, I'll explain that the characters, it's one of those cases where you inherited, your father was the worst villain. Yeah. You inherit all the respect he got.
What happened is you've been copying Victor's life. That's what happened.
You know what I mean? And he's just a psycho.
We'll come back to after we finish with constructives here. John.
So I'm going to piggyback my constructive off of my positive notes. I liked Lyleaf's character. I do not like McNeil's character. I hope that Lyleaf kills McNeil.
All right.
Hey, man, I respect that one.
He's nuts and powerful, bad combo, but I could see people simping him. I mean, look at Ethan. There we go. All right.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, to me, I just had kind of what they call that, Joker-esque, kind of like a Joker-esque character where he's insane, but at the same time, it's a controlled level of insanity. You know what I mean? If someone's that comfortable being that insane, then you don't know as much. As for the McNeil character, later on, I'll explain that, it's kind of like that deal where you promise your life to that person.
Right.
So it's kind of like you've sworn to some type of duty and you can't touch them. So, you can't kill them for a particular reason, you know.
Okay.
And maybe you're grooming your daughter to do it, you know. Maybe that's why.
I don't see how she's going to be able to succeed where he would not be.
Oh yeah.
That kind of a trope has kind of been done before in a lot of different stories, and that's kind of where we empathize with our hero because he has to, you know, fight the losing battle in order to save that which he cares about the most. And your hero character is not doing that.
Oh, no.
He's doing the opposite of that. But I won't go in. I've waxed eloquent on my thoughts on your story so far, and at this particular point, I'm not convinced that any of it was necessary. But as I said, we won't rehash last week's conversation.
William.
Well, you know, six guys. Oh, go Will. My bad.
Go ahead.
Oh, that like are we? Sorry, I got a text from someone. So are we like on constructive criticism or?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Like I feel like I mean I don't know. Like some of the dialogue from like Nyleaf or Nyleaf, you know, I was kind of lost on. Like most of it I could get, but there were a couple was like, oh, how does that work? You know, like some of the words kind of I guess went over my head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this might just be futuristic talk, you know, maybe because it's set in the future if I remember correctly, right? That's right. This series like takes place in the distant future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was like some of the dialogue. I guess I was kind of lost on like some of like his phrases.
The more I think about it, if I was going to execute 6 of my underlings for various things, and certainly sink, you know, a fair amount of money into the video production to show like, no, we got the receipts on why these are bad people, and get the piranhas and the dunk tanks. I don't know if I would. I mean, I like the idea that he throws a big party and has hookers there, but I would have to question if maybe the hookers might later talk to somebody else and go, "Hey, I witnessed 6 homicides." Unless, you know, at the end of the party he feeds the hookers the piranhas. Like, I don't know if that's how he keeps them quiet. I mean, he is an evil genius, but I don't know.
I think he'd run out of hookers eventually. Like, how many madams are going to be like, "Uh-oh, Nyleaf is calling some calls."
The population of hookers in the city kept going down, but the piranhas kept going. All right, fair enough. And we have John's pages.
Yes, I have pages.
Angel of Darkness. All right, so we got some cool zombie stuff.
Yeah, we got more cool zombie
stuff, and we're gonna have some scenes that are there because zombie stories have them.
Yeah, more or less.
All right.
There's going to be some of that. I'm sorry, Preston.
That's okay.
You know, it's like I was telling Moby last week. You know, not all stories are for everybody, and that's okay.
Exactly.
You know.
I know. I'm just.
I agree with that. Yeah, I respect it, man. To me, you know, we in the year. The way I look, we in 2020, man. If, you know, we a lot of stories can be told, man. It's just sadly the media tries to hold us back, man. We're adults, but we're being grounded and censored, man.
Yeah. Well, I know. Look, I wanna clarify. I'm not advocating. That's not the take home message here. I'm just saying, if one were the evil mastermind who's going to, you know, carnival style kill 6 underlings, I don't know if you would invite more witnesses to the actual scene. And if you were that kind of guy, I feel like maybe, I don't know. All right, we need a narrator, and we need an Amos, and we need a conscript who's going to die horribly. I can already feel it.
Yep. Pretty much. If you don't got a name, you're gonna die horribly.
Yeah. As soon as I see a dialogue that is just conscript, I'm like, he's dead.
Hey, that's the way it goes. You need to have your expendable extras. All right.
Yeah.
So Preston, I'll have you keep doing Amos.
All right.
And let's see. William, why don't you play the conscripts?
Okay.
There's mostly there can be done by multiple people, but I'll have you do them all. Let's see. Moby, why don't you do Njoku? Moby, why don't you do Nikita as well? And William, where does Erin come back? Does she come back in these? And let's see. William, why don't you do Hanso? And and do Erin too. She's got a few lines in here. And I will narrate. I think I got Amos, Preston, Amos has a lot to talking. He kind of takes the lead on these pages.
Awesome, let's do it.
So he's basically that.
I'm channeling the leader. I feel like I'm taking charge during the zombie apocalypse.
Yes, that is what you are doing for this part.
Where's the captain? I am the captain.
I knew there was something I was going to do. Right, so I'm going to read my my blurb. Don't close the blurb, read the blurb. All right. Previously on Angel of Darkness, it's 1939, Africa. The impending war against the Axis powers has taken a back seat to survival. British Army officers and recruits, survivors of 2 zombie waves, reanimated by a mysterious shadow. Nikita Ridley, wife of the deceased mayor, tells the officers that the undead horde are the result of an occult ritual. While the zombie have previously been mostly mindless drones, the shadow has shown it can possess any one of the zombie, giving it full control. And we shall begin. Interior passenger coach 4. Amos pushes through the crowd of conscripts at the front.
Where is the captain?
They all dart their eyes away. Suddenly, the door opens as Njoku enters.
He's one of them. Quick!
A few raise their rifles. Amos pulls them away.
Hold your fire! Hold your fire!
Amos goes to Njoku.
They are all dead. All of them, even the conductor.
Conductor? The conductor's dead? Who's going to drive this train?
Silence!
The men quiet.
We're soldiers and we're going to act like it.
I'm a farmer. I'm a butcher. And I'm a preacher.
Well, today you're soldiers, and soldiers fight. How many rounds do each of you have left?
They all look amongst themselves.
About 2 clips left, sir.
When it comes time, make every shot count. Get behind me.
Amos draws his pistol, cocks it. Train coupler 3-4. Amos opens the door. Passenger coach 3's rear door sits open. Zombies stare with dead eyes. One leaps at him. Amos slams the door shut. Passenger coach 4. Bang! The zombie slams against the door. Amos steps back, takes a breath.
Oh, Njoku, man.
Okay, I'm first. Okay, when I open the door, we're going to hit them with a full volley.
Sir, they know how to open the doors.
The door handle turns. Amos grabs it, but it completes its turn. Amos pushes against the door. The zombie is stronger.
Shoot through the door.
Amos ducks low, still holding the door, still trying to hold the door. The conscripts aim their rifles, firing. Train coupler 3-4. Bullets rip through the wood walls of the passenger coach, hitting the zombie. They stand, taking the bullets, but remain passive. The possessed zombie continues pushing on the door. Passenger coach 4. Amos pushes against the door with all his might.
Captain, shoot it in the head. Shoot it in the head. Ready?
Njoku nods, draws his pistol. Amos moves aside, letting the possessed zombie fall inside the coach. Njoku fires. Blood and brain splatters across the floor. The shadow leaves the corpse, floating back toward the other zombie near the coupler. Amos slams the door shut.
Quick, grab some of the wood slats, a hammer, and nails. We have to barricade this door.
The conscripts start grabbing wood, barricading the door. The banging of the hammer is quickly overtaken by the sound of the zombie banging on the door.
How did it get so smart all of a sudden?
Observation Coach 9. Amos and Njoko enter the coach. Njoko goes to the washroom to wash the blood off his face. Amos storms to the lounge.
I'm glad the people are enjoying the voice production. We try. What aren't you telling me?
Excuse me.
You seem to know a lot about what's going on here. Talk.
I don't know what you mean.
Talk, damn it, or I'll throw you off this train just to see if that stops them.
Colonel?
Stand down, Second Lieutenant.
Flustered, Aaron remains quiet.
Tell me what the hell this is.
I don't know. I didn't even think it was possible.
What was possible?
The reanimation spell I heard of. Them, the gods know I tried, but never had success.
How do we stop them?
The spell only works on the dead. If you can keep your men alive, they should be okay.
And the ones already turned?
Even if the spell was broken, their body cannot take back the soul.
Can the spell be broken?
Only way I know of is to kill the necromancer.
Who's Hanso?
I think that was William.
That was me? Okay. It has to be somebody from the first group of conscripts. That's when they appeared.
It's a good thought. Let's get the everyone segregated. We'll put all the remaining men from Bulawayo in the forward coach, and we'll put all the civilians and remaining recruits in the rear coaches.
I'll get on it.
Hanso exits the coach.
How could we identify the necromancer? I'm assuming he won't volunteer himself.
He'll have a totem or focus of some sort. It can't be anything from the bone of a relative, a family heirloom, a charm. Look for something that seems out of the ordinary or that he possesses over.
Obsesses over.
Yeah.
Obsesses, my bad.
Passenger coach 5. Hansu stands in the aisle as less than 24 men sit around. Amos and Njoko enter from the rear.
We moved all of the men towards the rear coaches. Coach 4 is empty. We set it as a buffer and barricaded the back door.
Good. Gentlemen, we've asked you all together because we believe one of you may be behind this.
The conscripts exchange glances among themselves and murmur in Shona.
Look, I realize that many of you don't like me personally. To you, I represent everything that's wrong in your world, my language, my uniform, my queen.
Amos walks up and down the aisle.
But right now, I need you to put these feelings aside. There is a great evil that is coming, an evil that the likes of which I have never seen before.
Amos stops, exchanges glances with Hansu and Njoko.
If you would be willing to work with us, to use your skills to aid our fight,
The conscripts murmur again in Shona.
I believe we could stand a real chance in fighting back the tide.
Random conscript.
Are you insane? How many more of our people have to die?
None. No one else here has to die. That's what I'm saying. Whatever your grievances are, if you're willing to help us, I present your case in person.
Amos notices one of the conscripts appears to be barely paying attention while fingering a gold coin in his hands.
Let's see. Comment from the chat. I think Moby has won the role of all female characters now. There we go.
I think I gotta buy me a set of Depends. You know?
Exactly. To the highest officers in the British Army.
The conscripts sit down.
This guy's crazy.
Amos walks toward the conscript holding the gold coin.
Excuse.
Excuse.
Excuse. What's your name?
Okiro, sir.
Would you mind coming with us?
Passenger coach.
Even though the character speaks his name, he's still conscript.
The Expendables.
He just cannot get over that.
Sorry.
Interior passenger coach.
Yeah, I know where we're at. I'm just trying to
I'm just imagining this conscript just trying so hard to not die. He's even speaking his name. Oh, I've got a name. Like, get up here,
I see the person reading the script saying that I have a bigger part. When he says
They're my red shirts. Come on. All right, I'm back.
All right.
Passenger coach 3. The shadow moves between the zombie. Zombie Jaconde stands with them. The shadow forces itself into him. Interior exterior Cape to Cairo's railway engine. Zombie Jaconde opens the steam door, shovels several loads of coal into the engine. Observation coach 9. Amos places the gold coin down on the table. Nikita rolls her eyes.
Is that it?
She picks it up, looks it over. It's a solid gold coin, the imprint of a Portuguese monarch on the face. Nikita places it back down on the table and slides it back to Amos.
Well.
Oh, my bad. It's a solid gold coin.
Is it a focus?
I don't know. The focus can be anything. Does he smell like death?
Does death smell like not showering for a week?
Nikita gets up, exits the coach to the rear platform. Amos hands the gold coin back to the conscript.
You can go back to your seat. Sorry for the trouble.
Cape to Cairo's railway engine. Zombie Jaconde stops shoveling, closes the engine door, and opens the flutes. Rear platform. Nikita stares down at the tracks. They move in hypnotic fashion. Inside the observation coach, a barely audible conversation continues between the officers about what to do next. The train rocks back and forth. Nikita continues staring, mesmerized by the rocking and the movements of the train rails. She looks around, the expanse of the desert. The train rocks harder. Observation coach. Nikita enters the coach.
Why is the train speeding up?
The others stop talking, finally notice the increased rocking of the train.
Steam engine should slow as it cools.
Cape to Cairo Railway's engine. The shadow moves out of Zombie Jaconde, leaving him passive, moving toward the back of the train. Passenger coach 5. The conscripts stare worriedly out the windows. Amos, Hansu, and Njoko enter.
What's going on?
We think they may need to derail the train. We have to retake the engine.
But that is suicide.
Hansu and Njoko start pulling the barricade slats off the door.
As soon as the door is open, we fire a volley and make our way to the front.
Conscripts curse under their breath in Shona. Train coupler 4-5. The shadow possesses one of the zombies standing on the coupler platform. The passenger coach door opens. The zombie leaps high into the air. The train passes under it. The zombie lands on the roof, runs. Inside, Amos and the conscripts turn their rifles to the roof.
Fire!
The zombie runs across the roof as bullets blast through the wood. Reaching the end of the train coach, it leaps into the air. Passenger coach 6. The zombie crashes through the door. It immediately begins attacking the conscripts.
All right. You know what? I think the story's getting better. Or at least for me, I'm feeling like I was more engaged in these pages. We have a plan. We have a leader. Basically we have a main character acting against a zombie horde that also has a leader, and there's an evil necromancer. Now I understand the conflict. He has to find the evil necromancer in order to stop the train from going to civilized areas and bring the zombie plague. So it's I've got it.
You gotta have the phrase
It
the
only
way.
took 50 pages.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you also gotta somehow insert the phrase, the way in the comic. Like, we must find the way and stuff. You got the knuckles. You got.
I get what he's doing there.
Because a lot of these characters are African, right?
Yes.
They're all, except for Amos and Aaron, they're all African. Hansu is born in Africa, moved to London when he was a teenager, so like 13 or 14. So he is mostly a Londoner, even though he has African roots.
Also, okay, because I kind of gave him an African accent.
Yeah, he went to prep schools and lost his accent. That was commented earlier in the story that he no longer speaks with an African accent.
I do know the way.
Accent.
There you go.
But he worked to lose that because he wanted to be embraced in London, and then of course World War I happened and he enlisted and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and this is right before World War II.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
This is in the lead up, like the few months before the European involvement. Like they know it's coming.
Well, it kind of sucks for Amos because he goes from this scenario to having to go to World War II right after this.
He was originally there to get the recruits. That was his mission. He and Hansu were sent there to get the recruits that were supposed to join the Allied powers.
Okay, so so the British had conscripts from Africa.
Yes, they're in the British colony of Southern Rhodesia. So technically, they're all British citizens because they're in British territories, but they're in Africa.
That's interesting because a lot of people talk about the French having African conscripts, but I didn't know, that they also had the British doing that as well.
Yeah, it depends on the French and British pretty much chopped up and claimed different parts of the continent. The continent parts that we're talking about are the ones that was owned by England. The Cape to Cairo's railways is a real, quote unquote, real train line that went from Cairo, Egypt down to Cape Cod, South Africa. The train line was never completed, but I'm pretending that it was.
To me, man, I like the action. To me, it felt like an action-packed, because Preston talks like kind of like we're in one of those. You ever seen those? What they call it, reenactments of the Civil War and all that stuff?
They call it Civil War reenactments.
Yeah, man. To me, it's action-packed. I like that. Usually when they do zombie things, it's people running, being scared. I like that. I like that dude. If it was a real soldier, he wouldn't be running. He'd be, we're killing him. We're taking him out. Instead of your usual movie fare where he's a soldier and he's running away. No, dude, I fought men with guns. This is just a zombie. I'm a killer. It might as just be a hobo that can take shotguns.
Well, you're stuck on a train moving at about 90 miles an hour. There really isn't anywhere to go.
Oh yeah. And to me, I don't know if you ever saw this movie. It was with Chris Evans, where he was in a train throughout the whole movie. Like the train was, I forget the name of it, but the whole movie's set in a train that they live on. And I forget the name of it right now. But to me, I like the action, the speed, the pacing, and I like how you just write the characters from a factual perspective. That the character Preston plays, Amos, taking leadership roles because he's a soldier, man. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna be scared of these moments. He's gonna rise to the challenge. And I like that energy, in the script. But one thing I would say though, I would say a script like this, I would say you write it out, but then eventually I'd go flip it into a novel. To me, I wouldn't hold this back for just a screenplay. I'd finish
it into a comic book when we're done.
Oh, all right. Even that, I'd say, put this as a novel, man. It's fast paced, it's high energy. That way you don't wait, because you don't have to wait on the art. To me, this is something where you could expand it. It was a screenplay. It was a novel. It was a comic. I'd start with the novel for, once I'm done with the screenplay.
Snowpiercer was.
Yeah, I never saw that movie, but I remember when it came out.
Yeah, there's two people who were like Snowpiercer.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was Snowpiercer. Yeah. The only other thing I would say though, because you're in Africa, I think a shaman or voodoo. You got to mention voodoo in some shape or form.
I did last week.
No, I'm saying as like they're not looking for a necromancer. It would have to be some word that's familiar with the voodoo priest or voodoo something, because they're in Africa, they wouldn't be using like a, more fantasy Eurocentric type of magic, it'd be more on the voodoo realm. I would say they're looking for some type of voodoo priest or something like that, because that way the reader, it's automatic. Necromancer, if you're not a guy like us who know D&D, who know the fantasy realm, you might lose them. And but I would say, since it's in Africa, I would say make it an African voodoo shaman or something that has voodoo in the front lines. That way people know this is some type of voodoo thing. Just my thoughts. To me, the only part, if you had a random scene of, how Paul Revere said the British are coming, just randomly someone yelled, the zombies are coming. Oh, man.
William.
Yeah, I thought the action was pretty upbeat and stuff. Like you definitely feel the sense of urgency in the script and how it's written. So, like it's just kind of interesting seeing like it go back and forth between different segments of the train and stuff. Which makes sense for like a script for like a movie and stuff. It's just an interesting thing to read and stuff. Because it seems like it's bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, that's why I put the numbers in it. The numbers were to help keep track of where people are at.
Yeah, it's just sometimes some people might just lose track of that, so it is kind of like interesting reading that. So because it's a little different than what you'll see in books. Like in books, it's kind of characters can go from one place to another, but it's normally pretty like consistent in the flow. Whereas this is kind of more you're going back and forth between different areas, which is which will look cool in a movie. Just reading it in a script is always kind of interesting, kind of weird.
I think I follow you.
I think what he's saying is you need a little more description, where like how they're moving from place to place a little more.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a more description. It's just I just have never really read. I haven't read that many movie scripts ever, so it's just interesting reading that. Yeah.
Reading a screenplay. Oh, yeah. Well, to me, man, this thing flows, man. It's, what I mean? I feel like once it's like a roller coaster, like that movie that kind of mentioned, Snowpiercer. They were stuck in that train and everything. The train became like their realm. It was life up there. But I would say, man, it's a solid script. The only thing I would say, man, once you finish this one, I would say you gotta reverse it into a novel and then reverse it into a comic. That way you got it written in 3 ways and you could push the novel very soon. You know what I mean? I don't think there's many zombies. It's a zombie in Africa with some voodoo and man, that's a different setting. I've never seen that.
And historical, yeah, it has a lot of unique things to it.
Yeah, I was trying to put some new twists on an old.
All right, constructive. Okay, my notes are pretty small.
Wow. Yeah, I'm shocked.
Pretty small. I want you to cut a scene. This is one scene. I'm like, that one doesn't go. The scene where the zombie shovels the coal. Don't need it.
Right.
Why not?
Well, one, look, you've seen all the Alien movies, right?
Yeah.
They cut the power. How could they cut the power, man? They're animals. We don't need to see the aliens cutting the power. We see the characters reacting to them cutting the power, and they're trying to figure out how that happened, which is more compelling to the viewer. If we actually see that alien pulling the switch, believe it or not, you lose something when you see like the alien monster working conventional machinery. It loses a lot of its mystique. Whereas if it's off screen and just being talked about and speculated, how can this even happen? Because if the characters are speculating, we don't know. Did the zombie shovel the coal in? Or maybe it was a spell. Who knows? Now we're talking more in the unknown, and the unknown is always more frightening than just the very mundane. He shoveled more coal in. That's not exciting.
I was trying to, and maybe I'm overdoing it, and maybe I don't have to. Maybe I've already established it. But I was trying to show that when the zombies are possessed, they are more in control and they're smarter and they can actually act willfully. And that was what I was trying to show.
Well, but again, just like an Alien, how smart is the alien is always the question, because they seem just like, basically, tigers or something. Like they hide, they jump out, they attack, and then whatever. So, it's like we're fighting tigers, except sometimes they do some really smart shit. And then we're like, oh, wait, maybe the aliens are smart. So how smart is the alien? We're never quite clear on it, and that's completely fine. So there's no need to address to the audience exactly how smart the zombies are. And the less the audience knows, quite frankly, the better, in my opinion.
I think Preston's saying it humanizes them too much. Plus, it slows down the pacing of the story, too. You made them too, that one moment, it's kind of like one of those bumps on the road. You got to just keep the action going. And then it humanizes that zombie too much. You want to see them as animals, and you want, when they're being killed, there's no sign of personality or, intelligence.
Well, part of the thing is because the shadow is the representation of the villain. That's why I'm trying to draw the audience to him, that he is the villain, and he is doing things, and he is actively working against our heroes. And I'm trying to escalate. And again, if it's not working, then that's fine. But my intention was to show that he is escalating his actions against our hero characters. And that's one of the things that he's doing, is by intentionally trying to derail the train, because the steam engine should slow down until it stops if nobody's feeding the engine. So the fact that it's speeding up, and maybe to Preston's credit, if it just magically starts speeding up and nobody knows why, that can add to some of the mystique too, which so I can kind of see that. That's why I was interjecting that was my intention, was just to
there's a lot of, particularly modern, like J.B. Abrams and what that are talking about. It's all about the questions, not the answers. So here you have an opportunity to pose a question. How is the train speeding up? Rather than first providing the action, then providing the reaction.
Okay.
It's like a telling. And another thing is, anybody who knows about a train, if it's still running, then they'll assume something's keeping it running. It's kind of like
they assume the writer's an idiot and didn't realize it.
No, you don't want to end up. What the biggest complaint on a comic section with the SJW thing is, they just do so much telling and showing, they don't allow you to just read the book, read the comic from the outside in, versus he's doing this because of this. Show me, don't tell me, but to me, I think that's just like a little fat in the story, it slows it down a little. And to me, in my opinion, it just humanizes the zombies too much. You want them to kill them like cannon fodder. You don't want any sign of intelligence. The more of an animal they are, the easier the reader can accept that killing.
I kind of wanted to show intelligence, but that's okay. My intention was to show this one has intelligence, the other ones don't. That was my purpose.
Well, I mean, you would always do what is.
That doesn't mean. But if I'm not expressing what I'm trying to, if it's not working, put it that way. If the scene doesn't work the way it's written, if it's not getting across what I'm trying to get across, then it has no point.
I understood. I understood that, like, this guy is a pretty smart zombie. He's got, he went to zombie college. He knows how to shovel coal into, a steam-powered engine to make it go faster. He understands these things. I got that. But I'm just saying you didn't have to.
Okay.
I mean,
It's fair point. Fair point.
well, I mean, you could always, if you're trying to showcase, you could always showcase a zombie reaching for the gun. That would automatically imply that it's smarter than,
Right.
you know, the average film where they just got the going for the brain. If he's
They
reaching for
figured out how
that
to
gun,
open doors, and that was something that was bothering them for a while.
oh,
So that was one thing that I did show that he was able to actually turn the handle on a doorknob.
to me, man, it so far works. To me, fast paced. And to me, when you got a time period and so many aspects, someone's gonna like this for a certain reason. You know, someone who's thirsty for that whole. I'm tired of all these modern world films. Give me something in a time period. Then someone who wants a zombie killing will want it. I mean, it leaves the door open. You know?
I'm sorry. Apparently, J.J. Abrams is not a good metric.
Uh,
I don't know. He made an awful lot of money.
And made an awful lot of movies and TV shows. And
at one point in Hollywood, it's like every movie that
also
got made seemed to be being, he was involved in. So, but
I mean, the dude also killed Star Wars.
no.
Put the blame on him. It wasn't him.
Yeah, I don't think.
That wasn't him.
I consider The Force Awakens a good movie. If anything, it is.
Yeah, as an expanded universe, as an expanded universe fan, to me it is heresy.
All right, whatever.
Preston's too close to the dark side.
Okay.
I think upper management had way more to do with killing Star Wars than just him.
Speaking of
the same thing with like the DCEU, it upper management, writing a screenplay from a boardroom based on a formula that was written down on a blackboard just does not work.
See, I honestly think that Zack Snyder is a better filmmaker than JJ.
By the way, I had a conversation today to one of my one of my industry contacts for getting new books and all that good jazz. This is the guy who's been working in comics for a while. Used to do some stuff with Marvel and all that, and he says that he's hearing that AT&T wants DC Comics. That AT&T is focusing on DC. They did the downsizing stuff, and that they just don't like print, and that AT&T wants DC to look at going digital for the most part.
Probably save money because they're not making money on print.
Right. Yeah. They're basically like they're looking at it like we just aren't. The profit isn't there. Just cut it. Which, quite frankly, is kind of wise. I mean, that's what you should do. You should stop doing the things that make you lose money.
But see, by saying that, that you're going to get hate from your boy Zach and stuff.
What? Just stop doing the things that make you lose money? I think you should do it. I think in general it's bad to do things that lose money. I mean, if making a profit is your goal, I mean, if you're there to make art, then that's different. But DC Comics is not there to make art. But the upshot was that this guy had, he had been putting out, more or less like a book a quarter like me. But now he's moving to monthly because he thinks that DC Comics is going to, take this shift to digital, and that comic book stores are going to be left, in the lurch with basically losing, a source for, half their books essentially. So that might present an opportunity for other people who have some cool looking comic books to get comic book store distribution. Just FYI.
Well, to me, that news just means, to me, they don't know what they're looking at. When you have over 1 billion Batman comics,
right.
when people can't keep up, trying to keep up with DC and Marvel is what I'm saying, is trying to drive in the highway with blindfold.
I think
it's insane.
I think what you need to do is simple solution is just do what Shonen Jump and other manga does and just put it all into a magazine. Just make it a DC magazine and force them to say you have to write linear stories from now on. That gets people interested in each chapter and stuff, because that's what people like about superhero stuff like My Hero and stuff,
Well, I didn't want to get off on a whole let's talk about
yeah.
Star Wars and DC and Marvel. I mean, that we could probably do that on a separate stream. My point is only that as creators, as people who are out to make a buck in the commercial art related to comic books, there are some opportunities coming up.
The door's wide open now. That means they just gave up. Well, if it wasn't for COVID, but they gave, because to me, Preston does most of the conventions.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what's going to be the aftermath after COVID. How are the conventions going to roll out? Because to me, I'm waiting for the football season. To me, football will tell us the future. If they allow football to reopen, then conventions will come back. A lot more things will come back. But I'm looking at it, man.
The thing is the plans are is a lot of the stadiums are going to be empty while they're playing. So, like, basically, everyone's convinced that the elections are going to be deciding whether or not we'll open back up. So that's basically right now everyone's saying it's the election. It's basically
But I just put those out for words of encouragement to people who I want to look at comic book store distribution anyway. But good pages.
Get done first.
Yeah, but good pages this week. I liked, John. Those were some strong pages. Willie, that was I really like that concept. I would encourage you to broaden it out a little bit. And Moby, it's always interesting. I love the Dr. Evil with ADD. I think I might use that at some point. Like set up an elaborate death trap and then just smash it.
I'm sorry I didn't give you more lines, Preston, in my comic. Like, seems like Moby got most of the lines.
I'm sitting here worried about how many lines I got.
Yeah, and then Vicky doesn't really talk that much. It's like, the female main characters are getting.
To me, that's the only role you might have. That's the role you might have to change, man. Because you might have to change the name.
Well, I mean,
you still keep a female, but because of what's going on,
I'll message her. I'll see what she says.
What's going? I'm out of the loop, so I don't know.
It's not really much, but Vicky has left the show.
So. Vicky's not on the show anymore.
But it's her choice, and she's welcome to come back. She wants to come back.
Because the one thing I noticed about just when you're writing stories, I don't know. Sometimes you want to give the characters good dialogue, but I don't know. Just sometimes some characters just get lost. They don't get as much dialogue as some other characters. I don't know.
If characters are getting lost, then you need to combine or cut and combine characters.
Yeah.
And my rule of thumb is, if it absolutely doesn't have to be spoken, don't say it, because. If you're writing dialogue that doesn't have to be spoken, it's going to come off as expositional, and it's going to sound flat and all of that. So,
I would say it depends on how good you are at writing dialogue.
Okay, because
I know people are so and their whole scripts are just filled with needless dialogue, but it's entertaining dialogue. It's the Royale with cheese shit that people go, oh yeah, Royale with cheese, But
I always thought. I was going to quickly put in. It's like I always thought, like with comic books, expositional dialogue is kind of the standard because a lot of comic books do that and stuff. Yeah,
sure.
But I mean, interrupt. Another thing I forgot to mention is got a hint of Archie's Weird Mysteries to it.
That one, yeah.
Man.
You are correct, William. Comics do tend to be a bit expositional in their dialogue. Screenplays should not be, which is my school of thought. So that's where I come from, is that to try not to be expositional in dialogue. And if I can show something visually, even in a comic, then I would prefer to show it visually than to have to explain it in dialogue. But I'm to me, like, if I'm reading a comic book, I'm reading it for the art, not to read words on a page. The words should only fill in the gaps that I can't see in the art. Otherwise, I want to see the art.
Anyway, it's a good show. Thanks everybody for your patience. I look forward to everybody coming back next week.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna at some point I need to get started writing Guinevere 5. So that'll be coming.
I was wondering, man, do you write that? Do you do that in a seasonal? To me, I think
What do you mean?
like let's say you got you're a Guinevere 4,
Yeah.
but are you mapping it out like a season? Season 1 is 5 issues. Season 2 is 4 issues. Because to me, when you map it out, I think the problem is the longer you get away from writing the series, you kind of tend to lose the characters' voices. You know what I mean?
My goal is to produce a graphic novel, trade paperback, whatever you want to call it, that tells a complete story, beginning, middle, and end, and is the right length to adapt to film if that choice got made. So that's why I go with 5 issues. It should probably be 6. I've done it times, but that's my goal.
Another thing is, Preston, you ever thought of? Was that DC and Marvel used to do this? The motion comics, where it's
I've thought of it. I've investigated that. It's an idea, but right now, I'm just trying to get more buy-in from the channels I'm using before I start exploring other channels, because that's how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be. It was a big hit, and that's why we're bringing you it in a different format, as opposed to it was a decent hit, but here's motion comics involve a higher art budget because you have to draw a lot more stuff.
No. What they do is they usually flip the pages you already have.
Nah, not the good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
The ones that Marvel did, they did like I saw them when they first came out because Netflix had them.
Yeah.
Like they did Iron Man Exegesis.
Yeah.
Which was really, I really was enthralled by the art style. It was really good.
Yeah.
And then I saw a bunch of the other ones, but none of them were really as good as that one. That one had lip syncing in the dialogue. I saw another one that was based on Spider-Woman, also by Marvel. No lip syncing. It's just you stare at the person looking. That one is more like you're staring at a panel and you hear the voices. I mean, to me, I'm like that. There's almost no point. Me personally, I would not do that because there'd be no point in me just getting voiceover actors.
I mean, it would be fairly cheap to just take the lettering off your page, hire voiceover actors, and call it a movie or a video. But I don't know if there's a market for that. So we're starting to get a short film.
Of them. They made half a dozen of them over 10 years ago, and now they're gone.
Obviously, it didn't work. Exactly. Yeah. So yes. The problem you start to get into short film, and the problem with short film is there's really not a market for short film. So you have left an arena where there is a market for comic books. Now you've entered an arena where there's not really a whole bunch of people buying short films.
I tried doing a motion comic with Daz 10 years ago. It wasn't quite 10 years ago. It was a little less than 10 years ago. And it didn't go over too well. I tried doing it as a web series. I actually produced 5 episodes. You can go on my YouTube channel and check it out. It sucks ass.
Sir, there's a nun watching this. That language.
Hey, coming from the screenplay you wrote, my friend. But I mean, you can kind of look to see, and there was a script in the program that I used for lip syncing, and I tried the whole thing, and I experimented it, and I did 5-minute episodes because I was going to do it as a web series. This was back when web series on YouTube were big, and it looks like crap, and didn't work out. So that tells you where that went.
All right. Yeah.
I know. Trying to wrap this stream up.
Wrap up tonight. I will see everybody next week.
All right, sir.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been Press and Post with Pocket Text Comics. Thank you all very much for your time, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep, we know the way. We know the way.
Yeah.
All right.